Here we have my bovine uterus, cervix, and vagina. So we're going to start with the uterus. There are three main types of uteri. There are the duplex, the bicornate, and the simplex. The bovine is a bicornate because of the two moderately sized uterine horns. And if we see here, at the point where the two uterine horns meet, the uterine body, that is the bifurcation. And so we have the two uterine horns and the uterine body, and then the cervix and the vagina. And so what are the four functions of the uterus? It acts as a passageway for sperm cells, it produces histotroph or uterine milk, it supplies nutrients and eliminates waste products, and it expels the fetus at parturition. And so if we look at the outside of the uterus, we see smooth muscle. This is called serosa. It is the outside layer. It's a layer of flattened squamous cells that cover the surface. It is a smooth, slick muscle that allows the uterus to expand during pregnancy and shrink back after, and it also prevents adhesions to other organs. And if we go inside, we see this first layer. It's kind of like pinkish. This one right here. That is the myometrium or muscularis. It is a smooth muscle layer. It's two smooth muscle layers consisting of outer longitudinal and inner circular muscles that allow peristaltic contractions to make substances and fetuses move fetuses through the reproductive tract. It uses a combination of oxytocin and estrogen to make the contractions occur. And if we move even deeper inside, we hit this gray-yellow area that is called the endometrium. It is made up of the submucosa and mucosa. The submucosa houses blood cells, blood vessels, nerves, and lymphatics, and the mucosa is a secretory layer of epithelium. That is what secretes the histotroph or the uterine milk. The endometrium also has other functions. It is the inner layer lining of the lumen and is the location of uterine glands and caruncles. Caruncles are a specific site of placental attachment that interact with cotyledons, which are an overgrowth of fetal membrane tissue, and both together during pregnancy is called a placentome. And bovines can have 90 to 120 of these. And if a bovine goes through heat and does not achieve pregnancy, she will slough off the entire inside of this, of her endometrium, and that is going into heat. That is having her period. Not all bovines bleed, but they all do have discharge during this time. And if we move to the outside, we see the mesometrium, which is another broad ligament that suspends the uterus and all parts posterior to the uterus. And if we move down here for just a second, we can see the uterine artery, which is this big, thick artery right here. And then next to it, with this thing right here, that is the uterine vein. It is thinner and flatter than the uterine artery because it does not have as big of a job. It does not have to pump into it. It just simply acts like a drain for the blood from the uterus. And if we move on from the uterus down through the uterine body to the cervix, there are four types of cervixes. There's a transverse fold, spiral arrangement, longitudinal folds, and single ring. Here we have the bovine uterus. It has a couple main functions. It secretes mucus from the cervical mucosa. There are two hormones that secrete this mucus. There is estrogen, which secretes a thin mucus that allows semen passage and fertilization. And then it also secretes the hormone progesterone that secretes a thick mucus which creates a cervical seal and prevents entrance of bacteria into the uterus. We can kind of see this thick mucus right here. It did come, when I cut it open, it did come out. So you can kind of see that thick mucus right there. And then you can also see the thin mucus that's just kind of hanging around. It's that darker brown. So we have the thick and the thin that we can see here, which is pretty cool. And then how many folds do I see in this cervix that I have in front of me? I did count 12. And then we move on to the vagina. There are two segments of the vagina. There are the cranial and the vestibule. The cranial vagina is closer to the cervix, and the vestibule is closer to the vulva or the exit genitalia. And they are separated by the hymen present in virgin mammals. The main function of the vagina is to act as a copulatory organ or receptacle for semen during natural mating processes. It is also the place where the urinary and Repro tract join together. And all right, that is my bovine uterus, uterine body, cervix, and vagina. Thank you.